Hey, welcome to Whiskey Wednesday. Hey, everybody, I'm Dave. Nice to see you. We're here for happy hour. This is a special hour, right? So usually I'm here later in the night. We're here for the happy hour, at least in the Midwest. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 5 o'clock right here, right now. Whiskey Wednesday. Excited to have you all joining us. I see already some people tuning in out there. I hope that you'll post in the chat what you're drinking tonight. So we can hear a little bit about what that is. Is it milk? Is it a mocktail? Is it a cocktail? Is it something in between? Really excited about tonight. Excited to be having a couple guests on that I'll introduce and bring out in just a second. And also that's going to be the first half. We're going to be chatting about it, getting to know them as some new members of the Paverson team. And then we're also going to be diving into cocktails. We're going to be learning about the new expansion coming out later this year on Kickstarter. Really excited to kind of be showing this to you for the very first time. So, hey, good morning, Ben. How are we doing? Good morning. I think you must be maybe over in Australia, perhaps. And James, good afternoon to you as well. Hope to hear what you two are drinking and enjoying tonight on this Whiskey Wednesday as we get started. Again, my name is Dave. I'm the owner of Paverson Games, designer of Distilled, co-designer of Luthier, and again, just really thrilled about tonight's Whiskey Wednesday, a special event, having a couple of special people on and getting to know them too. I should tell you what I'm drinking. I'm actually having a Kilchoman tonight. So it looks like Kilchoman or Kilchoman, but it's actually Kilchoman. This is actually from Islay in Scotland. It's a nice little peated whiskey, not too heavy, not too peated. This is actually the farm distillery on Islay, which basically means they do pretty much everything there, right there. Most distilleries try and make it sound like that they do everything there, but they don't. They ship it all in, but they do pretty much everything on the island, which is pretty cool. We might have some Kilchoman fans out there. I don't know. Be sure to post it if you are. This actually one little quick story before we keep moving forward. This was actually a gift from a couple fans when I had the release for Distilled. This was a couple years ago, right? So 2023. I had a release kind of at a gallery exhibition actually on my university's campus. And a couple fans brought this by, and it was a collaborative vatting from the Whiskey Soaked Souls. So pretty cool there for sure. So there's that. I'll keep that front and center, or the side, I should say. Oh, and hey, Richard. So Richard is able to tune in. Richard, of course, is our awesome developer for all of our games, as well as designer for Cast Strength expansion for Distilled, and co-designer with me on Cocktails expansion. So really excited that people over in the UK, and it sounds like maybe Australia too, can tune in. This might be the hot time for us to move forward as well. So I'm so glad Richard's here too. And again, if people have questions, be sure to post them in the chat, wherever you're watching, on YouTube, on Facebook, and we will try and answer them. Now, without further ado, it is time to invite a couple people on stage. As a little introduction to this, last time you might have remembered me talking about, if you were tuned in last time, talking about the fact that Paverson is growing. And I still have a full-time job teaching at the university as a professor, and I want to be able to continue to make awesome and create awesome games for you all. And I knew I needed some help. I knew it was time to bring in some people that had expertise in fields that I've basically been trying to do on the side, not very well, for the last couple of years. And so I'm so thrilled to announce that we have a couple new people that are joining the Paverson team. Two of them are joining us tonight. And I thought it would be so fun to get to know them a little bit more. So please, I guess, round of applause, or like chat. Maybe you can round of applause in the chat. Bringing out both Libby and Isaiah. Hi, Libby and Isaiah. Welcome. How you two doing tonight?
Good.
Good, thank you.
Good. Well, welcome to Whiskey Wednesday. I think your first and probably definitely not last appearance on Whiskey Wednesday. As I always like to do before we dive into getting to know you a little bit better, what are you drinking tonight? Maybe Isaiah, you want to start? What are you having tonight?
Sure. Well, my drink of choice typically, because I'm the father of a 4-year-old and an 18-month-old, is Diet Coke. But tonight I dug deep into the oft unused alcohol sections under my kitchen and found some Bullet bourbon.
Oh, nice.
So I
Bullet,
having a
yeah.
nice bourbon on the rocks. Just whiskey with an E.
Nice. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Bullet's good. I got to actually last year when I went to Gamma, which is the manufacturers trade show they had it in Louisville, Kentucky for the first time. And I went nuts. I think I toured like 16 distilleries when I was down there. And Bullet was one of them that I got to tour. So they have this like really cool brand about being kind of like Western, but they're actually in Louisville. So it's really funny. But anyway, good whiskey. Very good. I love their rye especially. Good choice, Isaiah. Libby, how about you? What are you having tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I probably should have gone with an American whiskey, shouldn't I? But
no.
I have gone with a Scottish Highland Ardmore, which is one of my favourites, lightly peaty, a little bit smoky. Yes, very much enjoy this one.
Oh, wonderful. I love it. Yeah. Now, have you been up to Scotland, Libby? Have you gotten a chance to go up there?
Yeah, when I was quite a bit younger. So, yeah, it's about time we did another tour round. Although I did look to do a sort of little present for my husband and I. You can get a train. It's a little bit like the Orient Express, and it goes around and does tours of the Scottish distilleries. Turns out 5 nights is £13,000. So we're not going. We're not doing that one. Maybe some other distillery tour, but not this fancy train.
I love it. That's hilarious.
The booze
my
train.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
you have your own private whiskey expert that tells you all about the stuff, and you have little drinks every night. It looks fantastic. But yeah, you need to win the lottery for that one.
Yeah, seriously. Wow.
Yeah, in my neck of the woods, we just call the booze train the LIRR.
What's that? Is that
the Long Island Railroad? It's the commuter rail here in New York.
Well, that's funny. And let's transition to that. So let's get to know you two a little bit more. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your personal and professional background, maybe what drew you to Paverson Games? We're, of course, going to dive into a little bit about what you do and what you're going to be doing for Paverson later, but maybe give us a little bit of that background. And maybe, Isaiah, you want to start showing your cards there from where you're at.
So I'm Isaiah. I do live here in New York for the moment, although we're actually in the process of relocating out of New York and going south down to the Atlanta area. But for now, New York. And I love board games. I'm just a huge fan of the Euro middle to heavyweight games. So Distilled like really scratches exactly that specific itch.
Nice. So we had some issues with Isaiah earlier. We decided it's probably all the board games is blocking the Wi-Fi signal. So it's like a blessing and a curse, I guess you could say. But this is fine. This is great. We have two people. So we're going to pivot to Libby. And if Isaiah comes back in, awesome. Otherwise, it's going to be the Libby show. Take it away, Libby.
Isaiah can have his own week another time.
That's right.
I mean, as you can see, also enjoy the board games. Quite a variety, although I would say similarly that sort of midweight Euro is really where my heart's at. I played Yado in 2012 with my friend, the first edition. I now have the deluxe master edition, obviously. And I think that's one of the games that really drew me deep dive into the whole board gaming thing. Previously to that was kind of, playing Ticket to Ride with my dad on an app when we're out and about and things like that. But, that one really showed me what a board game can really bring. So have been loving that. And since I met my now husband, we have expanded our collection a ridiculous amount and kind of not held each other back in any way whatsoever in terms of adding to board games or playing more board games. Just let ourselves both free rein
you're both
into the hobby.
Each other, basically, right?
Yes, yeah. Bad influences on each other, yeah. And so we created our channel on board games. So that was back in probably 2020. And then it was shortly after that I started working in board games for Cosmos and kind of for De Beer, distributing for them in the UK. and yeah, haven't turned back really.
That's great. And did you say where I'm in UK, but where are you from in the UK? Maybe you said it. I missed it.
No, I'm sort of south of London, so I mean technically probably slightly closer to France than I am to London, but but yeah, so in that southeast section.
Nice.
Easy
Wonderful.
to get over to Essen.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. That's cool. Nice. And Isaiah, welcome back.
Hi, sorry about that.
It's all good. It happens, right? So let's see, where did you freeze up? I think I don't know, it was probably pretty early. Yeah, just maybe start out New York. Besides that, going to Atlanta. We heard that.
Going to Atlanta, yes. But for now I live here with my my wife, my two boys, 4 and a year and a half, and our very old cat who's just a little love bug, and all these board games. I worked previously at Eldritch Foundry, where I was head of marketing and sales. So if anybody here knows the custom miniatures market, that was me running their marketing for a while. I also, like Libby, during the pandemic, found myself launching a video channel with my significant other. We're on TikTok, or we were on TikTok, as the Game Wall, but then our toddlers kind of took over our lives, and we just don't have time to update that. But we may come back to it as they age up just a little bit more.
That's right. Maybe they'll be part of the channel. You never know, right?
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. The older one has been. He helped us review
really?
Hungry
Funny.
Those. Yeah,
nice.
That's actually true.
Oh, that's funny. Well, hey, this is great. So again, coming with backgrounds that are different, yet also obviously complementary in certain ways, especially as they connect to Paverson. Can you talk a little bit about, maybe starting with Libby, talk a little bit about your role here that you're starting? And again, this is like brand new this week, right, Libby? Officially. So starting with Libby, maybe your role. What are some of the things you are going to be doing to help out Paverson Games?
Yeah, well, I will be diving into the events. So all of those fun shows that we get to do, everyone raves about, having a look at those. Previously, I've done the events for Cosmos and things. I like to create a bit of a spectacle. So we'll see what fun things we have coming up for us. I mean, we have got cocktails coming up, so maybe we need to have a cocktail bar, who knows. So yeah, definitely doing that, and really focusing on the community. Obviously you already have such a great little group of fans here, particularly for Distilled, and there's a whole bunch of us all fanning out for Paverson in the Discord and things, so you'll be finding me in there chatting with you all, and on the Facebook pages and things like that, just making sure everyone's happy and has what they want and gets to share the love of all of our games.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, so community, focusing on that community, I'm so excited about that, and events, because for those that help out at some of our conventions, they know it's like Dave put this thing together with some folding tables and a big banner behind it and called it good. So I just can't wait. I still remember that. Was it 2 years ago when you did or was it last year at UK Games Expo?
No, the one before. Last year I was falling up at my honeymoon.
Oh, that's right. You weren't there. That's why I don't remember that one. But yeah, tell us about that one really quick. The little dodo thing.
Oh, well, so we have a kids game called Dodo, and it have this little mountain, and there's a wibbly wobbly egg who's very weird, doesn't roll straight, doesn't go at any one speed. It's all bizarre, and it's a really simple kids game, but you've got to create the sides of the mountain for the egg to fall down, so you don't get Dodo omelette. Basically, it's got to end up in a little boat so it can swim away and make more dodos.
Yeah.
And it's such a fun theme, and it's such a fun, colourful bird. So we just thought, let's just do something silly. And obviously a lot of people at places like UK Games Expo have these like really serious competitions. Let's do a tournament. And we're always next to Catan, and they've obviously got their serious tournament as well as their fun kind of trading thing that they're going on. And we just thought, why not make an 8-foot dodo? Just why not?
I mean, why
right?
not?
Exactly. I mean, we want to have something for the kids to engage with and that's fun and exciting and silly. So why not do that? And then we'll run a tournament and we'll play it like it's really serious, but obviously it's so tongue in cheek. I managed to rope my husband in to be the sort of Murray Walker of the Dodo tournament, where he was commentary over all these different tables and families, saying all these ridiculous things, asking them what their technique is, and essentially it's a roll and dice and match a symbol kind of game. Like, there's no technique, but we just dove into the ridiculous.
Oh, that is so funny. Oh, wow. I do remember walking by and seeing like this person dressed in a dodo costume, thinking like, what is going on over there? And of course, it turns out it was probably Julian.
I don't think he ever got in the outfit.
Oh, he didn't? He was always just the commentator next to him? Okay.
Yeah, he was the one with the golden megaphone.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's funny. Well, it looks like Isaiah might still be having trouble, but that's okay. When he moves down to Hotlanta, he's going to have the fastest fiber optic Wi-Fi. I'm not worried at all. So we'll see. And Isaiah, if you're listening to this, don't worry. I don't want to stress you out I'm sure you're trying to like walk around your place and figure out where the best Wi-Fi is. Don't worry about it. We'll get you on another time as well. So I don't want you to stress out, but if you can make it, awesome. Otherwise, no worries. Cool. That's awesome. Okay, good. So yes. And I'll just talk quickly about Isaiah's role. So it's really interesting because at the beginning, when I first set out to think about bringing other people onto the team, I knew I needed help in working with events. I knew I needed help in working with the community. I also knew I needed help with just like social media in general and advertising and marketing and analytics. And there was a lot of things. And I remember the first time I wrote a job post, and this was before I even posted anything, it had everything in there. And I shared it with a couple mentors I have in the industry, and they just laughed at me. They're like, you first off, you think someone's going to do this? One person. And secondly, do you think someone's going to do this for like the amount of hours that you're offering to this person? And I was like, well, I don't know. I thought maybe. And because I was doing it all myself poorly. So I should have known that. That's why. And so I, after reviewing applications, so many great applications, it was amazing how many I got. A couple people rose to the top, and it was you two. It was Libby and Isaiah. And it was interesting. The skill sets you had I felt complimentary. And I thought, you know what? I think I'm just going to, we can do two positions. So what we did was Libby with community and events, and then Isaiah is marketing and communication. So digging into those analytics, thinking about like advertising and like Facebook ads and that type of thing. So I'm really excited to see the two of you working together as well, like collaborating on this moving forward. And that doesn't even include another person that's joined our team too, that'll probably be on next week with me, and that's Kevin. He's actually done a little bit with us with Luthier in the past, as far as a music consultant, but Kevin's really stepping into the idea of logistics and operations for us as well. So it's kind of like I keep waking, feeling like I should wake up from a dream that it's been just me in my basement for the last couple of years. And now I've like assembled this team. And it's crazy. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to do next. I'm going to try and bring on Isaiah one more time. He's here. Let's see.
Hi.
Can we do it? Hey, Isaiah.
Hi. I'm so sorry.
Do not apologize. We can't control the internet.
Yeah.
We can't control it. And don't worry, if it doesn't work this time, don't worry. You can just kind of comment from the ether and we'll bring you on another time. It's not a big deal. But hey, Isaiah, do you want to, I know I just talked a little bit about it, but do you want to maybe talk about if you feel it's going to work for Connection? Is there some things that you thought about when you like were looking at Paverson and interviewing and that you thought like, yeah, they need some help in this area. I think I can bring something there. Do you want to share some of that? And not going to hurt my feelings at all.
I try not to make it my policy to
God, just when we're getting to the good stuff.
I know. I was giving him this chance to just really hit me.
Yeah.
Oh, Isaiah, you tempt me. You just keep tempting me with your internets. That's okay. we just keep, the funny thing is we just keep getting these frozen shots of Isaiah like over and over again as we go. All right, we're going back to you, Libby. Hope you're ready for this question.
Bring it on.
All right, so what about you? Like, and you knew us a little bit already for sure.
Yeah.
Both you and Julian, of course, and I've interacted with you in the past as well. So I'd love to hear, were there certain things that you felt seeing this from the outside, thinking like, oh boy, this guy needs help, and I'm here to help him? Like, what were some of those things if you saw it?
Well, I think my background has come from a very much kind of similar to how you've been doing it. I'm doing it all kind of position where I was doing graphics, I was doing shows, I was doing marketing, I was doing the UK sales, and you can only do so much of that stuff to a certain level. You kind of end up fighting fires, doing stuff, and always thinking, oh, I could have done that a bit better, and I could have done that a bit better, and I could have done that a bit better. So it was interesting hearing you basically say how I often felt about my job, and thinking, actually, I could really get my teeth into one area and really do it great. And to do that whilst being surrounded by people that love the same kind of games as I do, and kind of would be talking about games on the same sort of level, was really exciting to me. So
that's cool. That's cool. I'm so excited to see what we're going to be able to do together. And I mean, even within just the last couple days, last couple meetings, some of the ideas that have sparked that I've heard you come up with, Isaiah come up with, I've come up with, Kevin. Oh my gosh. Oh
yeah, it's like a constant brainstorming session, isn't it? Especially at the beginning, where we're getting to know each other and trying to work out where everyone's kind of lines are and crossovers are. Exactly. And then you just kind of go, oh, what about this? And what about this? And what about this?
Exactly.
And that's fun.
Exactly.
Right.
I tried to bring him on and he's frozen again. I'm sending him back. Sorry, Isaiah, you're frozen. It was a black screen again.
I was waiting for the good goss
I know
stuff.
What he's gonna do, maybe he'll like write it down on a piece of paper and he'll hold it up and it'll freeze and it's just gonna like burned into my eyes forevermore. Who knows? So if you do have any questions, I see a couple people. Hey, Stuart, glad to see you. Stuart's always chiming in on Facebook, as well as watching our Whiskey Wednesdays. Good to see you coming in. What you drinking, Stuart? Comment there. I know Sarah is probably having something nice. Sarah, I want to know what you're drinking. Sarah is a whiskey expert of sorts. So I always love to hear what she's having too. So please,
I'm up for some tips, Sarah. Let me know.
Exactly. Give us some tips. Actually,
mine's nearly empty.
She can probably give us some tips on certain spirits to have. I don't know how much she dabbles into the cocktails realm too. Sorry, Sarah, we're just like talking about you like this. But anyway, that's that. Oh, here we go. Writer's Tears Copper Pot Still. Writer's Tears. Is it Irish? Is it a Copper Pot Still? Is it Irish? I'd be curious to know. I don't know Writer's Tears. I don't think. But that sounds like a aptly named, wonderful name for a spirit. And maybe it's an Irish whiskey if it's Copper Pot. We'll see. See what he says.
Straight onto Google.
Yeah, exactly. What does that mean? Yes, he says, yes, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. All right, I think I'm going to do it again, but I think it's going to be black screen. Isaiah, black screen. Maybe it's like a statement. That's how bad I was doing before Isaiah joined my team, that it's just like all black. Who knows? This is a comedy now. We're just going to see how many times we can bring him on and it freezes. Let's see. Ben says, no drinks for me. Have things to clear my head for. Maybe some American single malt from Brother Justice. Ooh, very good. Yeah. So again, more and more America is starting to have more whiskeys we see coming up as single malts. Didn't used to happen because we just toss a bunch of corn into it and other stuff and call it bourbon or call it whiskey. Because in America, beyond the fact that there's a bourbon policy, there's no laws really as there is like in Scotland as far as like single malts. So okay, let's see. Now I see him back. Oh, he's live. He's there. He's moving. It's his chance. Get it in before you freeze. Tell me how bad I was.
I figured it out. I'm so sorry, everyone. I had a VPN on that I didn't realize, and I think it was like bouncing me all over the place. So
totally.
I'm now sitting next to the modem on the 5G with no VPN. So
nice.
I hope this sticks around.
This should work. Hopefully this will work. This will work. So yeah, let's
You've
get
all
back
gotten a
to
nice
real
tour of
quick.
my house.
Yeah. Well, real quick, thanks Stacy for commenting. Oh, Mead Hall. Steven's given me a mead. Steven and Stacy are fantastic workers. They usually help us out at some of the cons. Steven helped us out at Essen as well. So great to see you here, Stacy, contribute as well. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And really quick, sorry, Isaiah, one more. I knew it. Sarah would come through. Tom Do 12. Very good choice. Single malt there from Sarah. Awesome. All right, Isaiah, back to you.
Hi.
Hit me. What was it? What did Dave need help with?
Well, I think the biggest thing that you needed help with is like just social frequency. Like you're stretched very thin, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And so like just having another person there should hopefully be the thing that allows us to really leverage those socials as not just not just a place to chat and check in every now and then, but like really like a big waving flag that says come over here for great board games.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And also you're not running any ads anywhere, and we're going to fix that too.
I know. Sorry. Yeah. Again, see, this is why I need y'all. And also, Isaiah, you didn't actually talk about, can you take a little bit of time to just tell us a little bit more about your background beyond just working at Eldritch?
Yeah.
I'm just going to say one thing that drew me to you was your theater background.
Yes.
And I'd love to, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit more about like that, like some of the other stuff that you're bringing together. I'm a liberal arts guy, like went to university for liberal arts. So I really believe in like lots of different things. And actually after that, Libby has some really cool background stories as well about some of the things she's done. So Isaiah, would you mind sharing a little bit more about who Isaiah is?
Yeah. I mean, I came here to New York almost 20 years ago now, right out of college, to do the actor thing, and like be that New York actor. And I did that in my 20s and 30s and realized that basically it's impossible. It's just even success is not sustainable in any way, especially as New York has gotten just more expensive.
Yeah.
And I kind of like found myself kind of falling backwards into marketing. Like I started, with my theater company, Flux Theater Ensemble, independent theater company, which I'm very proud of. Any New Yorkers or actually anybody can check us out. I took pictures for Flux, and I started making postcards for Flux. I started sending e-blasts and running ads and doing like social media campaigns, and just started pushing the limits of like what we can do as a scrappy theater company with basically no budget. And I think it like built some really, really good muscles for, an independent board game publisher that also, might not have all the resources in the world and is also trying to compete in a very crowded media environment. And also is like theater, selling a very niche product, but looking to find exactly the people that is their audience. And I think the one thing that really drew me to Paverson specifically is that really strong sense of brand and identity and purpose that is true across the two games so far, and also the games that are coming down the pike. So I'm just really excited to help us find more of our people. Yeah,
definitely. And I'll say one more comment before going to Libby. One thing I remember in kind of one of our first conversations, you telling me about, I'm going to need you to kind of fill in the blanks here, but you tell me about how you did this kind of social media campaign in connection with like the actors and the audience. And it was one of those things where I could tell that based on the timeline that you said and everything else, that it was something that was happening probably before the time of people doing lots of interactivity as well too. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Flux, back in 2014, we did a show called Jane the Plane, which was set in a high school. And social media was a big part of that play and the action of the play. And so like I was in the play and also the marketing director, because y'all wear many hats in independent theater. And I said, what if like we made Facebook profiles for all of the characters in the play and had the actors actually play those characters on social media as though they were those people. And this was like, now it's like more common that you'll see like this kind of nonsense, but like in 2014, no one was doing this. And what was really fun was, we made the profiles, we handed them off to the actors, and like each actor had like kind of a different approach to it that was very much in keeping with who their characters were as it happened. So there was like one girl who was like too cool for school, and she like barely posted. And then there was like the football player who's actually any fans of the show Silo on TV. Chinaza Uche was that football player, so he's now the Sheriff Billings on Apple TV, just hanging out with Tim Robbins and other very famous people. And I'm like, I got to be in a play with that guy. But Chinaza was like the football player, and he was like that. He's the cool, fun like football player. Very much, you can see it. You can see it in his character on Silo. And he was just like playing very dumb. And then the audience got into it. Our community got into it too. And some of them took on the persona like totally unprompted. Some of them became teachers. Our stage manager became like the assistant principal. No one told her to do this. No one told our audience members to like be these people, but they were just like so like into this. And then we just had all these fun like in character moments leading up to and during the run of the play.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Like that's the type of kind of creative approach I love about both our industry, but also just interacting with community and interacting with people that don't even know we exist yet, and how to draw those people in. So I just love that.
Totally.
Cool. Well, hey, Libby, what about you? You've got lots of stories. I'm going to let you choose what you want to share. But I remember when talking with you, learning about your past, like not counting board games, you had some pretty cool stuff going on too. I don't want to put you on the spot, but if there's anything in particular you wanted to share.
I mean, okay. Cool. Shall I talk about the number of times I've been to university?
Yeah, well, yes. Like, remember, I started out as an artist. You have a background.
Is it more than one?
Yeah. So my first degree is in maritime leisure management, and
yes.
I was
hoping you'd say that. That's like maritime leisure management. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I originally was going to, do sailing and diving and, maybe have my own yacht charter company, and there will be, crew in navy shorts with white tops on around boats, and, eventually someone will give me a champagne fridge and life would be wonderful. But my parents had sailed since I can remember, and I trained to dive when I was at uni. So I've done lots of diving all around the world and stuff. Julian always laughs at me because the PADI, which is one of the diving qualifications you have, they have several qualification things. You start with like open water diver and stuff like that, and then you're either a dive master or you can be a master scuba diver. So when we were on honeymoon and they said, what's your qualification, and I said master scuba diver, and now he won't stop teasing me about how Libby's of course a master scuba diver. It was like, no, I was just telling them the qualification, that's what they asked for. So that's where we started, and then I had a bit of an incident on a diving trip in Cornwall, and I messed up my neck. So working and diving and sailing, probably not for me anymore. So it took a while to work out what route life was then going to take. So then we went back to uni, eventually having my very kind parents taken me on a lovely trip around Australia. And when I was there, I realized what fun things they do with jewelry and things like that. And when you're off and you can, barely move your arms or your body, you can't drive, all that fun stuff when you mess up your neck. Daytime TV gets very boring very quickly. So from the trip to Australia and also to Hong Kong, we went to Jade Street and bought loads of gems and stones. And I was like a kid in a sweet shop with gemstones. So then I went back to uni and studied jewelry and jewelry design. Wow. And I have a master's in contemporary jewelry.
That's so cool.
So for quite a while, I had my own business designing and making jewelry. And then things became a little bit awkward with the whole Brexit, the petrol crises, the this, the that, and you know, running your own business in the middle of financial sort of problems, when you need to pay a mortgage because you know you've moving in with your boyfriend that hopefully will keep you and marry you.
Oh, good. Sounds like that worked out. That's
good. So then I ended up in board games.
That's awesome. Well, and again, like I know it I don't know, maybe I just see it and it's not as clear for others, but that honestly, that's the stories you just told were the types of things that drew me to being excited about working with you two. You came from non-conventional, you know, traditional board game backgrounds. But what you're using, whether it's theater and engagement with audience and community, whether it's the idea of seriously, even maritime leisure management, maybe a lot like board games underwater. I don't think that's a good mix at all. But the idea of working with you know, people to on something that is honestly a luxury, like board games are a luxury still for many people, but then also something like your eye for good aesthetics and understanding what it takes to put on a show, because you know, I can only imagine you had many times you had a booth or a table at these types of shows for your work as well. So most people probably just disregard it, but those are the things that I feel like makes us stronger, because we're able to add those layers on top of what we're doing now too. So thank you both for sharing. I know I put you on the spot there, but I think it's exciting stuff. Oh, and I guess so does Cozy Board Games. Libby is the best. Sorry, Isaiah.
You got a fan there.
Well, although, Cozy Board Games is this, but I posted this earlier. People didn't maybe see. Chris mentioned that Isaiah actually has a cocktail made in honor of him tonight. So I think you both are at about the same level for this.
It's an honor I was not prepared for, but I'm happy to and abashed to accept.
And made from a Mr. Freeze, no less.
I know.
Me.
So just a second, I'm going to be jumping into showing people cocktails. Just to end it again, thank you both so much for taking the time to chat. I'm so excited about you all joining us, but also us getting to know each other over the next few months, years, and hopefully our fans too, right? Our community is going to get to know each of you as well. And so with that, at the end, I wanted to see if there's certain things you know that you could kind of post out there about ways they could get in touch with you or ways they can kind of find you, whether that be on Discord or other ways too. Is there certain things they should look out for, handles, that type of thing? Either one, whoever wants to dive in.
Libby, why don't you go first since your community?
Yeah, on Discord, I am Libby Paverson Games, so I should hopefully be easy to find for you all in the channel there. And I think I'm just Libby Everett Hill in the Facebook groups, so I'll be hanging out in the Luthia page and the Distilled page, so come along and join those pages and we'll have you in. You can tell us about what you're drinking, what you're playing, what fun combinations of distilleries have come up in your games. We want to hear all of it.
Awesome. Thanks, Libby. Isaiah, what about you?
I'm Isaiah Tannenbaum. I'm also, you can find me in the Discord. I'll be taking point more on the company page, so on the Paverson Games Facebook page and Insta, you can find me there. You can email me if you have a question that relates to external facing things. It's also, this is a good moment for us to also mention that, like, reviewers that might be in the chat, we do have a review form that you can fill out. It is on our website. If you click on over there. So if you want review copies or you have a media request or anything like that, like fill out that form, and we'll be sure either Libby or I will be reaching out to you in the coming weeks once we've gotten our feet under us to help you with whatever that need might be.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. And yeah, we're doing a quick, in the next month or so, we're going to be updating the website. So you'll be able to see their information on there too. You'll be able to contact them through that too. But hopefully for most of you tuning into this, you can find them in the Facebook group, in the Discord as well. And like Isaiah said too, whether it's email or some of the main pages, we'll be sure to connect with you. So again, Libby and Isaiah, I want to thank you so much for taking the time tonight to join me for a little quick chat and a drink. And I know they might stick around a little bit more in the comments. So if anyone has any questions for them, feel free to post them in the comments and they'll be able to answer you as well. So thanks so much, Libby and Isaiah.
Oh, my pleasure. Glad I was able to shoot my video just in time to leave it.
Exactly. It worked. Yeah, exactly. Hey, you got it all in. It was perfect. All right, cool. All right. See you both.
Cheers.
You
Bye.
later. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. All right. There we go. So hopefully, as you can see, like I am just so excited to have those two joining me. We are going to bring on Kevin next week. You'll get to know him as well a little bit too, learning more a little bit about the logistics and the operations of the company. That'll be neat to kind of see how we're doing that. He's going to share some stuff when it's just he and I one-on-one. So that'll be neat. I'm also going to be showing off some of the newer deluxe luthier upgrades too. That'll be next week. So if you want to see some of that next week, be sure to tune in. Okay. So with that, let's dive into cocktails. Now, as I think hopefully most of you know, I announced probably a month or so ago, Papers and Games announced that we are going to be coming out with a new expansion called Cocktails, Distilled Cocktails. This is going to be kickstarting this fall. Sometime in the fall, I don't know exactly when, but it's definitely this year. It is definitely in the fall. The page is already live. In fact, maybe I can figure out a way to link that. But anyway, you'll find it. If you go and search for cocktails on Kickstarter, you'll be able to find it. You can follow it. We've got about 800 followers so far. We'll keep going. We haven't really done any promotion at all for it yet. So that's really great to see. This is going to be a big box expansion. This is not just some tiny little thing. This is not cask strength, right? This is not Africa, Middle East. This is cocktails. So it's going to be big. In fact, I go so far as to say, Richard's probably going to correct me if he's watching right now. I go so far as to say that Cocktails is going to be bringing the equivalent to what you might find in some main games. That's right. We are adding a bunch of stuff. We are packing it full. Just like we did with Distilled, was a ridiculous amount of content in Distilled, more than we probably should have done. We're doing the same thing because, that's how Dave likes to do it, is just give you more than he's supposed to. I'm supposed to hold it all back for the expansions and make lots of money, but I'm not doing that. I'm just dumping it all in here. And I hope that you'll be able to see that in this demonstration. So what I thought would be fun tonight is to just give you a little quick tour within Tabletop Simulator. Remember, this is all still prototype, right? The game is pretty much in a very good space as far as the mechanisms go, as far as how things are working. But of course, there's still lots and lots of tweaking to do, tons of art and graphic design to do as well, with our awesome artist and graphic designer, Eric, coming back from the original game. This has three main kind of components, or I'm not going to say they're not mechanisms, but the main elements that you'd find in this expansion, all of which are complementary strategies. Technically, we've tried to design it so that each strategy can kind of exist on its own for the most part, but you could also combine them. You could overlap them. You could say, this game, I'm going to play this one strategy. This game, I'm going to combine these two. This game, I'm going to combine all three. We really tried to create it that way. So without further ado, let me jump into this. Let me figure out how to jump into this. Okay, there we go. So hopefully you can see my screen now. And as always, please do post questions in the comments if you have any. I'm happy to answer them as well. I thought I'd start with this image. I mean, this is me sharing the screen because we are still using the same mod. Oh, Isaiah is gonna. Oh no, Isaiah's probably just rolling his eyes right now, or maybe his screen's frozen. Who knows? But we are still using the same mod. I just realized this. I'm so embarrassed. Look at this. It still says Distilled game. It's all my Distilled stuff here. It's not even Paverson. Yeah, he says wince in the chat. Releasing worldwide 2022. We're still using the same mod because really at the end of the day, honesty, joking aside, Tabletop Simulator is not meant for you to just all get together and play as the final product. It is meant to be an opportunity to be able to kind of come together and play test, to try out mechanisms before they're released to the public. In fact, James is asking play testing when. Well, I'll get to that. In fact, I'll just tell you right now, James, because of this Whiskey Wednesday, we are officially going to be releasing this as an opportunity to start playtesting with scheduled playtests that we're going to run on our Discord. So if you are in a Discord, you are going to get to join us in some playtests very soon. The first one's going to start this weekend. Richard's going to be running that, I think Sunday. Oh no, he wrote to me. I think it's 1:00 Central Time. Richard's probably going to correct me now in the chat if he's watching. And maybe Isaiah or Libby can put the Discord invite in the chat for us as well, and I can put that up on screen. In fact, I should have my link tree up here. I'm going to pull that up in a second. I'll do it later. So I'm getting sidetracked. We've got a couple really cool new mechanisms. What is this cocktails about? Well, we thought you're making spirits already in your distillery. Awesome. What's next? What can you do? Well, oftentimes, and this is actually me touring a lot of the USA distilleries down in Kentucky. Oftentimes, distilleries will have a bar, especially in the States where, I'm sorry, I don't want to offend people, but oftentimes the spirits aren't as high quality or like a single malt. They go better in spirits, or they're making gin. And of course, oftentimes gin's going to go well in a certain type of cocktail. So what we decided is you got to make cocktails. Your distillery's got to open a bar. So that's what we've done. Your distillery is now up and running, and you have expanded to create a bar. So let me give you a quick tour of that. And I'm going to try and do this in modules here, or little segments. You'll notice that the first thing for my Distilled fans is that we have expanded. We have gone from that line that is drawn there. And let me turn this on so I can go to white. There we go. That line that used to be drawn at the end of your distillery has now been expanded. We now have our very own bar. Eric has done an initial illustration. You have two levels of your bar. You have a top level, and eventually this will be a different illustration of kind of like a cellar bar, like a warehouse bar, underground bar. So you've got two different bars in your distillery. Hey, but what that means is you've expanded now that you have a double washback. You now have two washbacks in the game. This is probably the most requested thing from fans for Distilled is, come on, I want to be able to make more than one spirit in a round. Well, now you can, people. Now you can. You have double washbacks. This actually is a throwback to when I first was playtesting Distilled. This was something that I had very early on, a double washback, and it just created too much chaos. It's needed Richard's help to help me temper this thing. So as a reminder, Richard and I, so Richard is the co-designer, or sorry, the designer for Cast Strength. He's developer for all Paverson Games titles. And he's the co-designer with me for Cocktails. He, of course, is also helping with that development too, because that's something that he has an amazing gift for. So anyway, how does this double washback work? Well, first off, of course, this means, sorry, you're not going to be able to make a double two spirits every single round. That would be a little too ridiculous. Imagine my Distilled players out there, if you just made a vodka and a whiskey every round, and how you could, or a moonshine, you could get the money from one, store the other one, money from one, store. You would get too rich too fast. It also costs a lot of money to run two washbacks. Think about the staffing for that, right? Think about the amount of people that are involved in that as well. So with this double washback, with this comes a cost. So that cost comes with every time that you, I'll make this big. Every time you want to invest in this, in running two washbacks at once, you are going to need to pay. So the first time I pay that cost, I'm going to move my cube over with Sam Red, and I'm going to pay 2 money, and I'm going to get a free alcohol to jumpstart that washback. And that allows me to go down to my distillery and unlock my washback, flipping it up here to say, look, my washback has been unlocked. I have paid to be able to use it. And now I'm going to be able to drop cards into both sides, right? So that might be, I'm just going to cheat here really quick. That might be both sides that I could run washbacks. Now, remember, I was able to get a free alcohol as well. So technically I wouldn't even need this because as we know, we can only go to the basic market twice per round usually. And so this is going to be hard anyway to run this double washback, but here I get a free alcohol to sub in there. I'm going to do these two as separate distillations. So I'm going to have 2 decks. I'm going to shuffle twice. I'm going to take the heads and tails twice. I'm pushing my luck twice. And as you can imagine, I'm probably really pushing my luck now because now I'm going to need to be able to hope that I have enough in that spirit to be able to come out with not just a moonshine and a vodka, but something maybe a little bit nicer. Now, the interesting thing is here, let's say I did end up distilling 2 vodkas. If you've made 2 vodkas, you have pushed your luck because maybe I was trying to make something else. And that is only going to be able to distill and create 1 spirit, which means I'm only going to get 1 label. But if I were to maybe somehow, I had two grains in here, I was able to make a whiskey on one side and a vodka on the other. I have now made 2 labels, which means, of course, that I am going to be able to sell 2 things in 2 bottles. Every player is going to start with 2 barrels now for that exact reason. I'm going to be able to place it in 2 different spots on my board and get 2 different label bonuses in a single turn, right? So there's a lot of investment that goes into making this spirit or making 2 spirits and doing 2 double washbacks. But it comes with a cost. That cost of not only you having to pay, but also you having to push your luck a little bit more as well. And you'll notice that every time, so once I've done that, sorry, let me go back. Once I've done that, right? So let's get these out of here. My washback is now locked again. This is a one-time use. It's locked again. So that means that if I want to unlock this washback again, I'm now going to have to pay 4 money. If I want to do that a 3rd time, 7 money. A 4th, 10 money. And if you're like crazy and probably just making nothing but unaged spirits, make 14 money, right? So it's going to cost quite a lot to maintain this double washback strategy, but it is a strategy in the game. So that's one of the 3 kind of core elements in the expansion. You could play this and nothing else, right? You don't have to think about some of these other expansions that are in the game that I'm going to talk about in a second. You could just focus on double washbacks. Obviously, as you can imagine, if we're working with double washbacks, we're going to likely be making more than 7 spirits and more than 7 labels, which means that we need to expand the number of label bonuses as well. So one of those new label bonuses is if you place a label here, you're going to get 3 basic ingredients. 3 basic ingredients, or the 2 points like always. So that would mean maybe I could take 3 fruits. That's a lot. That's 6 money and equivalent to like 1.5 rounds worth of basic market visits. I could take a water, a yeast, and something else, right, to kickstart my double washback. This essentially, honestly, is there to help you kickstart that double washback if you want. You'll also notice above, though, we have a new label board that I'm going to talk about in a second that has spots for 4 new spots as well. So really, this goes from 7 locations to 12 locations, 12 labels that you can place across the game. So that's really important to note. James has a great question. He's asked, is unlocking a washback an action during the market phase? Yes, it is, James. Very good question. It is. Whoops, where'd I go? It is that. So on my turn, I would just say, yep, I'm paying 4 to unlock my double washback for a 2nd time. I'm taking an alcohol. That's my turn. As you can imagine, many times, James, this means that players are usually doing this kind of towards the end of the turn. But I will say that if you're like me, you kind of forget and you're like, oh crap, I just spent all my money and I wanted to unlock my double washback and I can't. So sometimes I'll do it early, even though maybe there's something in the market that I want to get. Okay. Hey, Matt. Matt Paquette. He's helped with graphic. He was the graphic design for Luthier. So I can't wait to be featuring some of that, especially next week as well. Thanks for tuning in, Matt. So really, really excited. I'm going to get to see Matt next week or 2 weeks from now at Gamma as well. So that'll be fun to see him and maybe have a drink with him too. So that's double washbacks again. So every time you pay, you take this token that right now I've kind of got as this idea that it's here, locking it visually so you know you shouldn't be putting stuff down. When you unlock it, you put it up here as a little flag to show that to you and others that you've unlocked it. And then once you've used it, you put it back down here. We'll see. Again, I want to emphasize everything is prototype here. We are just playing with this stuff. This is thanks to some amazing stuff by Eric that he's been doing over the last couple of weeks to help us get this ready for you all to play test. The first one, like I said before, is this Sunday, 1 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. over in the UK. So if you want to join Richard for a play test, he's going to be probably posting that soon in the Discord. So really important to be doing that as well soon. In fact, maybe we did that. Thank you. Someone's really smart. Thank you, Isaiah. Isaiah posted it, which means in my comments, which means I can do it. So there's our Discord. If you have not joined us yet, feel free to hit the invite over to our Discord and join us over there soon as well. So that's double washbacks. One other thing to note really quickly about the double washbacks, we of course are going to be shipping more labels with you as well, because every game is going to come with a couple extra labels. Like when you play the game, you'll have to stack a couple extra labels on there. So a four-player game won't just have 4 rums anymore. It'll have 6, right? So it'll have a couple extra as well to account for the fact that people are going to be going through these pretty quick. So that's double washbacks. Oh my gosh, it's already stopped. Richard must have posted it live. So James just grabbed a spot. So grab a spot soon, folks. But we're going to be running 1 to 2 games a week. Terrence is going to be running games. I might run some games too. So don't worry. You'll get your chance. And I want to emphasize the fact that this is, like I said, all prototype. But the reason we do this is because we want you as the community to help provide feedback. The game is not done yet. The game still needs, yes, we feel it's at a very good place, but we know that you're going to give us ideas for new upgrades. We know you're going to give us ideas for maybe some cool cocktails or other things too. So we really want to get you in there and help us out as well too. So there's that. There's the double washbacks. Let's move on. Next, I think it's time to move on to cocktails. So I remember double washbacks is one strategy in the game that is definitely going to enhance your points overall for your score, because obviously you're going to be making more spirits. The next one is cocktails. Of course, that's the name of the game, right? So let's talk about this. Actually, let's start here. So remember, like I said, your distillery now has a distillery bar, and it's going to have 2 of those. Which means that you need to start serving spirits that you make. That's right, folks. Of course, as many people know, if you go to a distillery bar at your favorite distillery, they're not making drinks with another whiskey. They're making drinks with the whiskey they distill and they age, right? Or their gin. You do have to do the same thing here in Distilled. So once you've made a spirit, I'm just going to do this. Once you've made a spirit, well, yeah, that could count. You can start to think about making cocktails. Well, how do you make those? Well, the way you make cocktails is this. You need to learn how to make these cocktails. You need to think about like making these for customers. You know that each cocktail has a specific recipe to make as well. These cocktails are going to come in an assortment of different looks and types. Here, I'm guessing if someone wants to try and guess what cocktail this is, that's right. Of course, every cocktail is a unique cocktail, a real cocktail. We are not going to name the cocktails on the cards because we want to leave that up for kind of grabs for you all to kind of try and guess. And of course, as always, just like we did with Distilled, we're going to be bringing in Mr. Blake himself to help us with talking about these cocktails in the rule book itself. But here we've got a cocktail. I'll let you guess what it is and post it in the chat, see if someone wins. We see that the glass type is martini. We see that in the top right. We see that in the middle is the cocktail drawn by Eric. We see that the requirement for this cocktail is a fruit-based spirit. So right away, we understand that we could not make this cocktail with whiskey, for instance, because whiskey is not a fruit-based spirit. Gin is a fruit-based spirit. There's a tip for you, a hint, as well as many others, right? Brandy's a fruit-based spirit. We see below that, we have a couple other things. We have some stars with a 1 and some stars with a 2. Well, we could make this cocktail kind of like, almost think of it as like the rail drink, or we could make this the top shelf. That's up to you to decide whether you want to make it as a rail or a top shelf drink. Rail drink is all that's going to take is 2 mixers. So these these are mixers. So not ingredients, because we have ingredients already. These are mixers. This will require 2 mixers. The top shelf is going to require 4 mixers, 2 of each in this case. We see that changes, though. It's not always, let me go to another one. Here's a good one. It's not always the exact same, just double. Sometimes it might be a little different, okay? So we go back here and we can see that. Well, how do we get this? Well, the way we obtain this is during the market phase. Again, like James asked, we could choose to go to the cocktail row. We could choose to get a cocktail. We're going to pay, in the case of this one, I'm just going to tell you, this is a martini for those that didn't know, a dirty martini at that. We could grab this martini cocktail. By grabbing this, we're saying that we want this cocktail. We see this awesome player board that Eric's drawn already for us for the cocktails. We could draw this cocktail. It's going to cost us 4 money to grab this recipe for this, to be able to make this order for this cocktail. But we also notice that it says that when we pay for a cocktail, we're paying for the cocktail card. We're also going to get that many mixers. Well, what's that mean, Dave? Well, what that means is we go over to our mixers here, and we get to choose from our selection of mixers here. Remember, it said 4. We paid 4 for those, which means we get to choose 4 mixers. So kind of ignore this right now. That's a separate step. I get to choose 4 mixers here. Well, right now, things aren't really in my favor. I can see, crap, I need some bitters or some, we're calling them flavorings, but that's what that kind of green bottle is bitters, flavorings. And I need some garnish, which is what the cherry is. So I need some garnish and some flavorings or bitters for this. Well, unfortunately, we can see here that I don't have any bitters or flavorings here, but I do have some. Remember, I get to pay 4. I get to get 4. I do have some cherries. So I'm going to take these cherry mixers. Okay. I'm going to bring these back to my distillery. I also still get to get 2 more. Well, one thing I could get is this umbrella. Umbrella is a wild mixer. So an umbrella counts for any mixer I want. The problem is I can only get 1 per visit. I can't grab this one either. I could get something else, and maybe I will, maybe thinking about the future as well. Maybe I'll get a juice. I could get a fizz as well, but I think I'm going to choose the juice in this case. And let's just pretend, I'm going to cheat here. Let's just pretend that let's pretend I had this already back at my distillery. And I need to cheat a little bit more. Pardon me. I didn't think about setting this up ahead of time. Whoop, there we go. So I take this stuff back. I paid my 4 for my cocktail. I've got my mixers. I'm going to bring this back to my distillery and kind of store it down here, wherever I want, just like I store my money. And I place this on one of these 2 locations in my distillery bar. I can only have a maximum of 2 cocktail recipes at a time. And so what I've done now is I've paid for that mixer. It's going to get refreshed with something new. Looks like maybe a Cosmo. Looks like we got a mule out here. We got some sort of fancy tropical drink. We got some Irish coffee. We got some pretty good drinks here. The Irish coffee is in the discard, so this is the discard location as well. I've got it back here. We'll talk about this in a second. Just a quick point. We've got a couple different glass types as well. We've got this Irish coffee's in kind of a more of a highball Tom Collins type of glass. This is going to change a little bit. These are still placeholder. We'll see that this Irish coffee is actually requiring an aged grain-based spirit versus maybe an aged plant-based spirit. We also see that one of the icons is kind of more this tiki mug. This is wild. So this counts as another type of glass type, which I'll get back to in a second. Essentially, when it's time for me to make a cocktail, it happens at the very end of the round, after I've aged, after I've sold my spirits. And I can say, yes, I'm making a cocktail. I can make 1 cocktail per round. In this case, I'm going to make this martini. I need to make it with something in my distillery. I actually do have 2 choices right now. I could make it with this gin, right? I can also make it with the vodka. This is something we're testing that I'm really excited to be able to kind of get feedback from people too. The vodka, though, is going to subtract some of the renown. It's not as nice as something like using a gin. So I might not get as much renown if I make it with the vodka. So I'm going to make it with the gin. Now, when I do, I put this right now, it's a cube on here to designate that this martini is made with this gin. I can only use each spirit once to make it. I've made it. I've turned in the mixers that I needed, right? So I'm turning those in as well. I basically I'll just delete them now, but I'm turning those in. They're no longer mine. I'm taking this, and just like our bottles, I'm putting this down below to collect this in my distillery for endgame. We'll talk about that in a second. And remember, I used gin in the kind of the top shelf here. So I'm going to get 2 renown. What's renown? Well, renown is the representation of you spreading your renown across the world. Now, you always have to start your renown in the country your distiller's from, or the region, sorry, your distiller's from. Let's just say I'm from Wisconsin, so I would start somewhere in the Western Hemisphere here. What I'm going to do, and I'm cheating here because it would come off from here, I would take a disc off of here and I would place it somewhere. And if no other disc is there, I'm going to get that reward that's located there. So I'm going to get one money. Remember, this was worth 2 renown, though. So I'm actually going to get to place 2 of those on. So again, let's cheat. Let's say it was here. And then I could go here and get a free umbrella, which is a free wild mixer. I could actually go across to Europe and visit Libby over in Europe. And now because we see that line there, now I'm actually got some renown both in the Americas as well as in Europe, right? That's going to maybe come in handy later. We'll do that for now. Why that's important is the more renown that I spread across this map, the more I'm going to uncover these. So again, I want you to imagine that this would have been like this at the start of the game, and I've pulled 2 of them off, right? But the more renown that I take off over the course of the game, the more I'm going to unlock at the end of the game for points. You'll notice here that if I make it into a certain bracket like this one, this means that at the end of the game, I'm going to get 2 points for a set of different glasses. Well, I only have a martini glass right now. But if I were to make another cocktail that used maybe an old-fashioned glass or another cocktail that used something else, then that's going to allow me to get that set bigger. So that essentially could mean that I could get 2, if I get all 4 glass types, maybe one of them is the Tiki Glasses Wild, that's going to be 2 times 4. That's going to really get me some good points as well. So that's going to be 2 times 4, 8 points. You can see that I have one full set of glasses, and I've done renown all over the board because I've really become known for my cocktails. That's 16 points I'm going to get at the end of the game. That's right. That is one spectacular martini, Libby. So that encourages me to think about maybe leaning into that idea of cocktails if I want as a strategy. I'm not going to be able to do everything I can in Distilled. So that's a pretty cool thing to kind of think about as well. James asked, whoa, is that a bonus to draw an extra distillery goal? Yep. Draw 3 of them and keep 1, James. So we'll talk about that in just a second. So that's essentially cocktails in a nutshell. I'm going to be crafting those cocktails 1 per round, 1 per spirit label. So I am limited, right? I have to think about that strategy. I have to think about what cocktails are coming out and what I want to pay for, because I'm going to have to pay a lot of money for those. I could, if I need to, always go here and pay 2 for 3 mixers. Maybe I'll do that. I pay 2 for 3 mixers. We now have only 1 left. Well, what that means is that I've actually triggered a refresh of those mixers. Here we see that means that I'm actually going to refresh it. Actually, I didn't roll it beforehand. We would have rolled it before. Oops, sorry, everybody. This is Tabletop Simulator at its finest, which would be have refreshed these. So I have 2 fizzes. I have 2 liqueurs. I have 2 bitters. And it looks like I have 2 juices. So these are added to it. But since I triggered that refresh, I'm also going to get 1 additional mixer from the market for free that I just triggered. So that's a nice touch. I maybe would have gotten that one. I then would roll these right away. So I know what order is coming up next for the mixers. And we see that maybe that's going to change my strategy as far as I want to do here. So I've always got a continuous change of those mixers happening and a market that is always kind of flexing. And I need to figure out what is going to be best for my strategy as I'm moving forward with that. And I forgot to mention, as you notice, as these river down, these cocktail recipes are getting cheaper. Maybe it's not as hot of a cocktail anymore of the month. So actually, I'm only paying one for this Manhattan, perhaps. But remember, that means I only get to take one of these mixers too. Okay, so that's my cocktails area that I'm focusing on. One more thing to focus on there really quick, and I talked about this before, when we have the double washback, and this is where these strategies synergize. If I place a label up at the top, I can do that at any time. I don't have to place it down here. I can go up to the top. I'm going to get a tiny bonus for covering it up, right? We can see that. And I get that thing. But then we see this blank space here. Well, what this is to James's point, if I fulfill a certain requirement in cocktails, in the cocktails expansion, I get to actually grab a new type of bonus. James asked about this draw 3, keep 1. The only way I'm going to be able to get this is if I have renown, I'm just going to fake it really quick, in Asia and the Africa and Middle East. We see that that's there, right? So let's going back here. I have renown in Europe and the Americas, which up here means I could grab this. When I make my spirit, I can demonstrate that renown. I'm now grabbing a new type of bonus. I'm getting both the renown and a couple free alcohols. So again, it's a really neat opportunity to be able to kind of choose what you want to do. Thank you to Richard. Actually, I'm going to first. Libby asks, I'm getting them confused. Is Julian probably asking? This looks incredible. How modular would it be? Richard answers really well. You'll be able to adjust things. So you can choose which one you want to do. You can add them. You can subtract them. But for the most part, you're going to kind of play with most of these. But you could technically play the double washbacks for sure alone. The other two are a little bit more integrated, as we'll see. So you can see from these, I have lots of different choices to choose from. I might get some recipes. Maybe I get 1 gold recipe or a combination. Maybe I get 3, unlock 3 bronze all at once. Maybe just some straight up points. There's a couple others I didn't put out here that might allow me to do some pretty cool special things too, as you can see here. Unlocking a second washback at a discount, purchasing some new cards too. So we're really excited about cocktails, but people, it doesn't end there. And again, that's what I'm talking about with the fact that we're cramming a bunch of crap in here. It's not crap. It's really good stuff, if I do say so myself. I'm really proud of what Richard and I have worked to do. And I will also say that we couldn't have done this without the amazing core playtesting group that we have. We have some crew over in the UK. We have some in the States. We have some over in Australia, in Asia, in Canada that have been helping us for the last couple months. They're kind of our core playtesters. And if you're someone that starts to get involved more with Paverson and playtesting us, we might invite you also to be part of that group. We could not have done this without them. Some of these things like this order up was JB, who codes our BGA channel, our BGA game. There's a couple things that he's had some really great ideas. Omelet, Liz and Tim and Demo. There's just so many people. I feel bad because now I'm not going to name everyone. So many people have been so crucial to helping this move forward. So thank you all. But here's the deal. So double washbacks, cocktails, and wait, there's more. There's also collectors. So this is Richard's baby. This is Richard's beautiful genius idea. This is the third element that you can kind of play with within cocktails. And this is collectors. How collectors works is that, let's say that I'm going to use this whiskey as an example. Remember, whiskey whiskey will get you 10 points straight, right? Whiskey's also going to give you by default, of course, just at a minimum 1 point. But let's just say that I make a whiskey worth 3 points, a whiskey with 2 flavors in it. And let's just say nothing else. It's just got a whiskey, a base 10, 3 points from the flavors, the 2 flavors in there. So it's a 13-point whiskey. Now, in the past, I get those 13 points. It's great. I put my label down. I get my, maybe I'm going to get a free ingredient for it. Great. Awesome. But with Richard's new idea for collectors, this kind of changes things a little bit. You can still do all that for sure. You could also say, no, 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 no. I want to go up on my second label bonus, just like Dave showed us how we could get these kind of interesting one-time bonuses. I want to do something different. I'm going to place this on the free alcohol and just get the measly free alcohol. But then I'm going to go up to my collector's row. And I'm going to see what my collectors are looking for. These collectors, there's going to be always out a couple more than what their player count is in the game. So there's always a couple choices. These collectors first, actually, oh, did I lock these two? I did. These collectors will be dealt out randomly. And will a deck of about 9 of these roughly. And these collectors are going to be saying a couple things. This collector, for instance, says that she is looking for either a bronze tier recipe, spirit that is worth 13 points or more, or she'd like a silver tier recipe worth 17 points or more. And then she's going to reward you with the thing below it if you've achieved that, and as well as three money. So if I make a silver tier recipe worth 17 or more, I could grab this one. This is gonna, and I take it back to my distillery. If I make the bronze, I grab this one. Unfortunately, I did not make a very good whiskey. It's a young whiskey, and this woman wants much nicer spirits. But luckily, I have this, what I can only imagine is my American Texan here that is interested in and is okay with a lower tier. I promise I didn't do this on purpose. I just kind of dropped art right now. Is interested in a lower tier spirit or a silver. And I happen to remember making that 13-point whiskey, which means that I have actually fulfilled this. I've made this gentleman very happy, which means I show to the table, look, I've made this 13-point whiskey. I take this away. I get 1 money as a reward. Nobody else can obviously take this when it's done. And he's only got 1 more he's looking for. And I bring this back to my distillery. And I place it right here. I now have stated to myself and the table that at the end of the game, for every single every single label that has an icon that shows a barrel that is going to be having a metal barrel in this case, I'm going to get a point. So if I go crazy into and maybe make Matthew McConaughey very happy here and go crazy into making lots of vodkas, moonshines, other things, actually that's going to come out with a pretty decent number of points as well. Right. So that might be my strategy. That might be something I'm going for mid-game. And I realize I've already got 3 or 4 non-aged spirits in my labels array. And that's actually going to get me 3 or 4 points or maybe more. Right. And that's just one option. The beauty of this is every single game, it's going to be different. There's 9 different collectors here that are wanting different tiers and different types of spirits. Right. They might want bronze or silver. They might want like those people. They might want gold or silver. But then also these are randomized as well. So on this game, it might have come out this way, but on another game, it might come out that this individual is actually one of these, and as a reward, you're going to get these. So it really is going to be changing every single game as far as how you're going to kind of strategize your play and really playing long game. I just love this element that Richard's kind of incorporated into the game. It's really exciting to see people play and kind of figure out how their strategy is going to be and really kind of set into a certain strategy early on. It's almost like a new type of distiller's goals or kind of spirit awards because it's public, but it's also for your own, right? So there's some really interesting stuff going on with the collectors. And again, as a reminder, you can only, let's just do this here. You can only get a maximum of 4 of these. So I'm cheating here. I'll just copy this over. Remember, these do not associate with each other. This is just talking about the total number of Europe spirits you've made. So again, in this case right now, I'm just going to get 2 points because I only have a single gin. But the total number that you've made throughout your whole board and obviously also in your warehouse. So this really allows you to think about leaning into a certain type of strategy in the game. Maybe you do now take a very unaged strategy. You double washback it, you collector it, and that's your strategy. Maybe you double washback and cocktail. Maybe you cocktail and collector. You're going to need to decide how you want to focus on each one. And as Richard said, this is definitely going to add a little bit more complexity to the game. It's going to bump this sucker up more because there's a lot more levers to pull, buttons to push. I always like to think about like base distilled as a way that I feel like I can I can't do everything, but I kind of can like dabble in everything. And each time I might lean a little heavier into one. But in this case, I think you're going to find this is going to reward multiple different plays because each time it's going to be very different. Again, which collectors are going to come out of the 9? Which bonus tiles are going to come out for those? Because there's more bonus tiles as well. Which bonus tiles are going to come out here and where, right? But then also, of course, you're going to have goals and that are going to determine certain things as well as part of the expansion. You're going to have things that are going to drive you maybe towards collectors as well. So goals and goals and awards too. Maybe there's a new award that comes out that allows you to kind of focus on having a triple sale in one round, or focusing on cocktails as well. So we've really tried hard to integrate this cocktail, this expansion into multiple different ways as well. Oh yeah, Ruse Game says really like that. It's water for Quebec. Yeah, yes. I'd like to say that I planned that. I'm not sure if I did, Guillaume, but you're right. That's kind of nice. That's nice. That's funny. So again, that's the, oh, and real quick, I should show you. This is the map for the 2 and 3 player game. If you're playing a 2-player game, you see those spaces where there's dots and a kind of a black circle. That's kind of what we got right now as the marker. You cover those up ahead of time with a non-colored disc, because let's just say this is here. I could still go here. I forgot to mention this because also at the end of the game, if there isn't enough already to think about here, at the end of the game, if you have renown spread across the map, for every 1 renown you have in each region, you're going to get 3 points. So if I have 2 renown in each region, that's 6 points. Or if I focus on one area, 7 renown in one region, I'm going to get 3 points. So I might be motivated to try and really focus on Africa and the Middle East. Other people can go there too. It's not a fight necessarily, but the first person is going to be the person that gets that bonus on the map as well. And I should note that for 4 and 5 players, it gets even busier and crazier, right? It's really duking it out because you've got lots of people vying for space on the map, and you can see there's a lot more of those bonus spots for the different labels that you would put on the map as well. So lots of opportunities there as well. So that's cocktails. And that's the map. So far I've talked about double washbacks. I've talked about cocktails, and I've talked about collectors. Those are 3 very, very different focus areas that you could choose to lean into. You could dabble in all 3. I've done that. You could totally do that, and many people do. But you could also lean hard into one if you want to get those ultimate points. I'll tell you right now, there is no possible way. I guess I shouldn't say this because someone will prove me wrong. But I don't think there's much of a possible way to say, like, I'm going hard into collectors and I'm maybe getting all 4 of these across the top, and hard into and hard into cocktails. It's going to be very hard because you're going to need to be focusing on some of those bigger ones as well. And yes, that is right. Box Meeples, there's maybe a little bit of influence from the patrons for sure, from Luthier as well. So good choice. Nice, James. Yeah, possible, huh? And I haven't shown you everything yet, people. So if you're still hanging on, here's the sweet rewards at the end. It's not over yet. JB, yeah, no, great. I shouldn't have said that. Yes, challenge accepted. You all say. Yeah, and I would say scores right now for testers, obviously things are going to be tweaked, but a good score, Richard, correct me if I'm wrong, I'd say a good score is probably around 150 to 160 A good winner score in cocktails expansion is 150 to 160. This is playing without cast strength. This is playing without Africa and the Middle East. And some of the top scores have been more like 175 to 185, I would say. And yes, I know some of like record scores are for base distilled as that is too. So I'm sure record scores for this are going to be much higher too. But I haven't shown you everything, people. Here's a little bit more. You know us, we can't stay away from theme and add in some more goodness. So we are going to have, of course, brand new upgrades. We're going to have brand new ingredients. We're going to have, oops, I don't have any here. I didn't stack this well enough. Come on. Excuse me. Did I shovel this? All right. So just a second. Be patient, people. We'll have it here eventually. Okay. Well, yeah, that'll work. Brand new items. Actually, I want to show one of those cool barrels we've got. There we go. Brand new items. So, of course, the upgrades, as you can imagine, are going to be ones that complement and enhance strategies you want to pursue. Maybe that's cocktails. Maybe that's double washback. Maybe that's collectors. So that's one thing. And obviously some game end bonuses as well. I'm going to move this here just to show something. There, I'm going to do this, move this over. There we go. That's good. No, there. So maybe that's that. For ingredients, it's something a little bit funky and new. So ingredients, we got some new ingredients, things like coconut. And with these ingredients, you'll notice the power doesn't have to do with distilling. It doesn't have to do with aging or selling, like maybe in cast strength for our cast strengthers out there. It has to do with buying. So when purchased, you can immediately purchase one other card directly above or below it at a 2 coin discount, which means if I purchase this for 4, this now costs me 2, and I can immediately purchase it. This cost me 3. I can immediately purchase it. So you're allowed to kind of hope to wait for certain cards to move across the board and then grab that so that you can get a discount on something else. I mean, as you can imagine, let me set this up like this. If I purchase this coconut here, this biochemist now costs me $1. That's it. So that's going to really allow you to be able to kind of optimize certain strategies and kind of, double buy in certain cases as well. Oh my, yes, Isaiah. Yes, I love it. I can already see some of the social media campaigns around this. This is going to be great. So zombies in World War II. So that's the ingredients. You're going to see that as on all the ingredients as a new update. And then finally, the items, some of the items, the bottles are going to gain you renown when you sell. So that's going to allow you to bump up the map without having to worry about just cocktails. And then also some of the items, the barrels are going to allow you to actually serve a cocktail from a spirit in the warehouse. Believe it or not, people, this happens. I've gone on distillery tours where they'll serve you. They'll definitely serve you, just like we've done with tastings, right, in the base distilled. But this also happens sometimes where I'll go to the warehouse for a special tasting, and then they'll have a cocktail as well, which is kind of silly because it's like, well, why would you waste it on that? But again, America does weird things, people. Trust me. The Scots would never do this. They'd never taint their or dilute their spirits with cocktails for a nice aged spirit. But again, that's something else you'll see too. So we've got new items, ingredients, and upgrades. James asked about cast strength with abilities. We're going to just do, for now, the playtest for starters is going to be just base vanilla distilled. James, great question, but we'll definitely be incorporating that later on for sure as well. Oh, hey, look at that. I just accidentally touched his too. Well, that's awesome. Thanks, Richard. Yes, you're right. That's perfect. Yeah, Libby says, yeah. See, Libby, you're going to be doing it. When you go to Manchester, do some research for me, Libby. Take some pictures, show the real deal that you're having drinks in the cocktail, in the distillery bar as well. It's a real thing. That's why we're doing this. Okay. So one more thing I want to point out that's kind of unique here with this. As you can imagine, people, with us adding, whether it's cast strength, Africa, Middle East, cocktails, this means we're adding a lot more cards to the decks, which means that sometimes already in base distilled, you don't see certain upgrades come out. We all have been there, but now you really won't. Well, we've come up with a little mechanic that's going to allow us to kind of change that up a little bit. Essentially what this means is that when you're going to load stuff into the truck, if you load something into the truck that has this little kind of pink forklift icon on it, this automatically tells you that you need to take that row and load one more. And that could chain reaction as well. I didn't do it here, but actually, oh my gosh, this would be bad. Okay, so this is why we need to test this. And usually this would never happen. You'll notice here, if I did that, this is going to do a super chain and load everything into the truck. But what this will do is allow us to start moving things through a little bit more. I'm not going to show you all the cool new things that we have for upgrades. You'll get to see that when you play test or watch us play test. Remember, all our play tests in Discord also allow you to watch those streams, so you can kind of tune in and watch that as well, especially if you don't have Tabletop Simulator, which is a requirement that you'll need to have to be able to help us play test. But if you don't worry. We'll be streaming those within Discord, and you can watch us as well. So that's another cool feature that we've got that's the forklift option is going to move some of these rows along faster than others, which is kind of exciting too. But wait, there's more. That's right. Dave's not done. I don't know. Richard, why didn't you stop me? Why didn't you stop me from continuing to add this stuff over and over again? Of course, we are going to have some new distiller identities. We'll have 4 new distiller identities. Right now, we're playing with one from each region. One that is going to be you getting any one mixer of your choice besides umbrellas. You getting to double the money that you would get from a collector. Remember, those are have some money on the top card. You getting money in addition to the renown you're getting when you're making cocktails, or perhaps you adding a flavor to the spirit you just distilled in your second washback. So again, if you couldn't tell, each of these is trying to help you focus on one of the strategies, 2 on the cocktails, because this is a pretty big focus of the game, but not all. But you'll get a choice. And remember, it's not like you just have that. You always choose from 2. So it's likely that you're going to get to choose one from the base distilled, or another one, or one of these. And yeah, you're right, Libby and Julian Box Meeples. It's 5 expansions in 1 box. I told you that it was a lot of stuff. And this is why it's going to be a big Kickstarter in terms of it's not just like a tiny expansion. This is going to be a big deal for us. But wait, there's more. One more. The last thing some of you have spoken, we've listened. Some of you out there, not all, but some of you have said, you know what? I feel like the first round of Distilled is kind of not a waste, but kind of just it's always going to be moonshine or vodka, almost always. And I wish I could just hurry up and go to the cool stuff and the fun stuff where my engine's been built. Well, we're here for you as well. Now, this is not going to be part of the cocktails expansion. This is going to be exclusively at the beginning for our Kickstarter backers as a mini add-on, bonus thank you expansion. And what we are calling this is Year 1. Year 1 allows you to skip the first round of distill and kickstart your distillery. So that you fast forward through your first year as a distiller, and you find yourself right away in round 2 in year 2. What this means is that at the start of the game, whoops, sorry. Come on, nope, let's drop them down here. At the start of the game, you are going to get 3 randomly dealt cards. They'll have a title, have some backstory as well. You're going to choose one of these. When you choose this, you're going to get the stuff on it in addition to your distiller. So if your distiller is giving you some money and a yeast or whatever, you're going to get that plus this. So maybe I'll get a free alcohol, 4 more money, and 3 points. Maybe I'll get a fruit, 3 money, and 2 points. Maybe I'll get to 4 money plus the distiller, and I'll get to buy an ingredient in the market row for a 2 discount. So you're going to get dealt 3 of these, and you're going to choose from them. And there's a good number of them to choose from. And again, these are all prototype that we're testing right now. When you choose it, you give yourself this. This all happens simultaneously. All the players get 3 cards. They pick one. They help themselves with that stuff. They'll never take something someone else has. There's only 1 upgrade, 1 item, and 1 ingredient, as well as a basic barrel. You're not getting in anyone's way. And then in reverse player order, you're going to place your Distilled Year 1 label somewhere on your board, and you're going to get that thing. So just like in round 1 of Distilled, you could say, oh, I really want that upgrade out there. I want that spirit safe, or I want that Doig ventilator. And I'm last in player order. You get to choose first here. And you place it there. You grab the Doig ventilator. You're done, and you're ready to start the second round. So we found that year 1 takes a minute or so once players have gotten used to it, because you help yourself, you take it, you're done, you're ready to go. We start round 2, we're off to the races. We're obviously adding lots of content, and we're finding that essentially with all this expansion content, if you play with year 1, you're not really adding much time. Maybe you're adding, 5-10 minutes total to the game. And why we're doing this as a separate element is because it really has nothing to do with cocktails. We know some players don't really want that. Some players might want it that don't want this expansion, but they would love to have year 1 just for base Distilled. So we're excited about this opportunity to allow players to explore this, but know that they don't have to. I have some of our testers don't really like this, and they say, yeah, you know what? I like playing round 1 because I like the strategy, the fun of what I'm going to choose. The market's obviously going to change during the course of round 1 by the end when I get my label. So it's really up to you what you want to get to do. You could choose to play with it. You could choose not to. Or like James said, heck, if I guess you could play. I mean, I'm not against house rules. You can play it as year 0 as well, James. Go for it. Then you're going to be mega powerful for sure if you wanted to do that too. But we're providing that to backers free. So when you back cocktails on Kickstarter, you're going to get year 1 as a mini expansion, maybe a couple other goodies we're working on. We'll see, free as a thank you. And this will be obviously available for everybody to purchase from Pay Versus Games at cons and our site later after it's been fulfilled as well. But you're all going to get it free. Yeah, that's right. Richard says, yeah, that's the thing, James. If you start with year 0, you don't get to count that score. So you can't accept that challenge. And I don't know, maybe JB will have some sort of cheat code or something in BGA to allow you to do that, but I don't think so. So nice try, buddy. Yeah, in all seriousness, though, we're really excited about that too as another element to Distill. As you know, we love to provide as much content as we can to our players. And I think I've covered everything. Richard, type now or forever hold your peace if I missed something. I think I got everything. It's been quite a long Whiskey Wednesday, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. As a reminder, again, and let's see, am I sharing my entire screen? Yes, I am. Kirk, that's Libby. I want to point people out to our server really quick, just so you can see this. When you first come there, you're going to see some server rules. You saw the link to check. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Richard. Thank you, Sol. You saw the link to join. Once you join, you'll answer some server rules. You'll come to you'll react to those rules. And why that's important is if you react to these buttons I'm showing you down here, that means you're going to be told about that stuff and you're going to be part of those conversations. So if you want nothing but Distilled, click the little dram glass. If you want nothing but Luthier, click the violin. If you want them all, click them all. If you want to play test, hit the gears. I think that's play test. Yeah, right there. So again, keep that stuff in mind. You'll be welcomed by our community coordinators in the welcome channel, and then you're off to the races. You can join the Distilled Chatter channel, and they're already starting to talk about it here. You can join the Luthier channel as well. And that's also where you get to start joining where we'll have the play test. In fact, this is where Richard's already scheduled the game. So let's here it is. So we got a couple people already grabbed a seat. There's still a couple seats open. Again, you will need to kind of know how to work with Tabletop Simulator to learn how to play this version or to work with this. But he'll be running cocktails here, and we'll be doing many more. Terrence will be jumping in and running some as well. You'll see the last public play test we did was in September of 2024 with Luthier. So we're excited to come back with all of you to start play testing this as well. Last thing, as Richard mentioned, reminded me, really important to note, solo. You better believe it, folks. We always consider the solo player when we work on games with Pavers and Games, and Distilled, of course, is no exception. David Digsby's solo mode is, many have said, is kind of one of their favorite solo modes amongst many games. I absolutely love it. It's one of those that caused me to realize solo mode can be more than just playing the game normally. And I know, and we've commissioned David again to work on the solo mode, so we're really excited to be having him return to do some cool new solo for cocktails. So it's not just add a couple of the same solo cards. We're looking at some new stuff too that's going to be really exciting for you to explore and navigate too. And I think probably it goes without saying that we're going to be looking for some solo testers as well as we move forward. So that's something to look out for. And yeah, thanks, Isaiah. I do remember that that we just had someone, I think it was Stin, reviewed our solo mode in Distilled, and again gave it raving reviews, which was awesome to see. So really excited about that as well. So again, lots of stuff as you can see here. The table is full, a little fuller than base Distilled. Basically, as a final recap, this whoop, I better go up here. Woo, whoop, whoop. This is all new, plus this, all that's new, plus obviously some cards, plus some of these. So again, if you didn't see it yet, if you're just tuning in now, I hope you'll watch the whole thing and see how much we are going to pack into this Distilled cocktails box. This is a thank you to our community. This is a thank you to our backers from the first time coming back for more. We are so excited to share cocktails with you. And obviously we have some more fun stuff in store as far as premium upgrades that you're going to be able to think about. Maybe there'll be a collector's box where you can put everything together in as well. TBD. So lots of exciting stuff in store for Distilled. And again, it's a reminder, that's just Distilled. We've got Luthier that's going to be next week. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And we're going to be delivering that to backers and cheese. And it seems like just a couple months. That'll probably be like May through July, really trying to target June, hopefully with that. And everything's looking awesome there. And then I'm not going to announce it right now, but I will tell you that we have not one, but two games that we have not announced yet that are pretty far along in development, thanks to Richard. New designers joining Pavers and Games with new titles. We might have some artists and graphic designers signed as well for those. And so that will be coming in the next few months, is us being excited about announcing some of those as well. And maybe then starting to open up some play testing opportunities for you there. I should note that those games probably will be featured at places like UK Games Expo, at Aircon. Richard's going to be at Aircon. Libby's going to be at Aircon, showing off some of those prototypes and getting your feedback to help us build those games better. And they'll definitely be at UK Games Expo. They'll definitely be at Gen Con. They'll definitely be at Essen. So if you are planning to go to one of those, you are going to get to be one of the first people to play it and give feedback before we've done really any art, any graphic design, just like we did with Distilled, just like we do with Luthier. I feel like I'm probably not one of the first, but I feel like we are kind of one of the companies that is okay with showing everything. But we've done that from the beginning. And I've now seen other companies start to do that as well, where they've announced games and they're like, hey, it's just the prototype, but will you come and help us play test it? And I think that's what it's about. It's about involving the community. It's about getting your feedback, all that stuff. And I want to thank all of you out there for being such an awesome community. Continue to support Pavers and Games. We couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without your feedback. Obviously, your support financially and buying our games, posting about them, telling other people about them, and coming out to these events to play in them. And Jacob, yeah, we are going to have play events. You're going to be able to sign up, and I hate to say it, but they're probably going to sell out pretty fast. We are going to have dedicated sign-up events to be able to play cocktails before it's released and on Kickstarter. as well as the other 2 games I'm not going to say as well. Those are going to be games that you're going to be able to sign up, but we're not going to have many tables because we don't have many tables and we still have a small booth, but we're going to do the best we can. So thanks again to all of you out there. This is why I do this stuff. I love it so much. I'm so excited about the future of pay-per-person games. And there's more. There's so much more happening, and can't wait to have you all along for the ride. So again, I've got one last little bit of the tipple here that I'm going to have. I want to wish you all Slan Java and good evening and good night. Keep playing games, and I'll see you next week where we talk with Kevin and take a little bit closer look at some of the deluxe upgrades that I've received from Panda for Luthier. Slan Java, everybody.